Boxing purists scoffed. Traditionalists rolled their eyes. But whether the sport likes it or not, Jake Paul has shaken the very foundation of modern boxing, and he's not slowing down. From YouTube stardom to headlining arenas, Paul's rise hasn't just been controversial, it's been commercially explosive. Like him or loathe him, his presence has dragged boxing into mainstream conversations, pulling millions of new eyes toward a sport that had long struggled to hold on to the attention of younger generations. While some celebrate Jake Paul as a marketing genius injecting life back into a stagnant scene, others argue he's turned boxing into a sideshow. Detractors believe his flashy entrances, celebrity drama, and unconventional matchups have blurred the lines between athletic competition and viral entertainment. To them, Paul represents a distortion of the sport's integrity. But regardless of where one stands, no one can deny his influence. He's sold out arenas, broken pay-per-view records, and brought unexpected energy into a sport desperate for a jolt. For years, one question has followed the Paul brothers wherever they go. Will Jake and Logan ever fight each other? It's the kind of idea that sends social media into a frenzy and would pack out nearly any venue on the planet. Fans have fantasized about what it would look like if these two internet titans squared off for real. The brother vs. brother storyline practically writes itself, with all the drama, stakes, and spectacle one could imagine. But as captivating as it sounds, the likelihood of it actually happening has always felt remote. The truth is, Jake and Logan have taken very different paths. Logan, the older of the two, has leaned heavily into entertainment. With his rising popularity in WWE and success with his energy drink company, Prime, he's carved out a lane in showbiz that's less about punches and more about pageantry. Meanwhile, Jake has taken a far more traditional route in the boxing world. With 12 fights under his belt, he's gone toe-to-toe with former MMA champions and aging boxers. While critics question the legitimacy of some of his opponents, there's no denying Jake has treated boxing with more seriousness than many expected. Jake recently addressed the topic of a potential fight with Logan on a podcast. When asked point-blank if he'd ever face his brother in the ring, Jake hesitated before giving a nuanced answer. "I really don't think we're going to fight," he said, suggesting that their bond and business interests might keep them from clashing. But just as quickly, he opened the door if ever so slightly. If they were to fight, he said, it wouldn't be in a boxing ring. It would be in an MMA cage. From Jake's perspective, boxing would be an unfair playing field. "In boxing, I would beat him quite easily," he said confidently. He even mentioned that Logan would probably agree with that assessment, though Logan might think it'd be more competitive. But MMA? That's a different story. Jake acknowledged Logan's strength in wrestling, flexibility, and athleticism tools, sharpened through his WWE performances. "He's very good at wrestling. He can do splits and could probably kick me in the head," Jake laughed. There was respect in his voice, hinting that in the cage, Logan might just have a chance. Still, despite the playful back and forth, both brothers know the risks of actually stepping into the cage together. Beyond the physicality, there's the emotional weight. It's one thing to sell a fight, it's another to punch your brother in the face for millions of viewers. Their bond, business empire, and mutual respect may ultimately keep the fight in the realm of fantasy, not reality. While speculation swirls about a possible Paul family clash, Jake is laser-focused on his next challenge, a legitimate bout scheduled for June 28th at the Honda Center in Anaheim. This time, his opponent is no YouTuber, no retired athlete, but a former world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez JRB. The name alone carries legacy and weight in boxing circles. Chavez JRB, the son of the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez, comes with experience, power, and a pedigree that Jake hasn't yet faced in his professional journey. For Jake, this fight marks a pivotal moment. Facing Chavez JRB is more than just another paycheck, it's a test of credibility. Beat a real boxer with real credentials, and the doubters will have a harder time laughing him off. Lose convincingly, and the narrative of being a manufactured fighter chasing clout could resurface with force. This isn't just about winning or losing, it's about proving that Jake belongs in the ring with professionals. But the Chavez JRB fight isn't the end of Jake's ambitions. Behind the scenes, his team is already plotting what comes next. Talks are reportedly underway with big-name opponents none more eye-catching than Badu Jack and Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. Both are elite-level fighters with proven records, and Ramirez currently holds the WBA and WBO cruiserweight titles. These aren't gimmick matchups. These are real threats. And if Jake's team manages to secure one of those fights, it could be the final step in turning a novelty act into a legitimate contender. The move toward elite opposition signals a shift in Jake's intentions. He no longer wants to be seen as the guy who beats up retired MMA fighters. He wants belts. He wants respect. And more than anything, he wants the boxing world to take him seriously. Whether fans believe in him or not, his willingness to step in with dangerous, tested fighters shows a different level of ambition. It's a risk, and one that could end either in glory or humiliation. Critics will continue to argue that Jake Paul's journey isn't built on merit, but on marketing. They'll point to his followers, his YouTube roots, and his matchmaking choices. But in a sport that has long used spectacle to sell seats, Paul's rise is hardly unique. From Muhammad Ali's flamboyant promotions to Floyd Mayweather's calculated theatrics, boxing has always embraced drama. Jake is just doing it in the age of viral content, hashtags, and live streams. And make no mistake, Jake's impact on boxing is measurable. He's introduced millions of new viewers to the sport, many of whom had never watched a fight before he entered the scene. His events are more than fights, they're cultural moments, blending sports, entertainment, music, and influencer culture into one chaotic, buzzing package. Love it or hate it, that kind of reach matters. It translates to ticket sales, pay-per-view buys, and new sponsorship dollars. For promoters, it's a gold mine. Meanwhile, Logan Paul continues to grow in a completely different arena. His WWE performances have earned him praise for his athleticism and charisma, and his Prime Energy drink co-founded with fellow influencer KZ is now a global success. Unlike Jake, Logan has leaned into the role of entertainer rather than professional fighter. While he's boxed before, including a high-profile exhibition with Floyd Mayweather, his ambitions are more aligned with spectacle than sports legacy. That's why a Jake vs. Logan fight remains so complicated. Their careers are heading in different directions. Logan's life is filled with scripted rivalries and choreographed slams, while Jake is chasing the brutal truth of the boxing ring. A real fight between them could blur those lines in a way that neither is ready for. They've built an empire together, why risk burning it down? Still, fans love what-if scenarios. And as long as Jake and Logan continue to dominate headlines in their respective spaces, the demand for a clash will persist. The narrative is too good, the stakes too juicy, and the market too large. Maybe it never happens, but the idea alone keeps people talking, and in boxing, that's half the battle. As for Jake, everything now depends on what happens June 28th. A win over Chavez JRB would be the feather in his cap that he's been chasing since his first fight. It would validate his path and set the stage for even bigger opportunities. A loss, though, would open the floodgates to criticism, memes, and the tired but powerful narrative that he was never a real boxer in the first place. The days leading up to that fight will be filled with speculation. Will Chavez JRB take the bout seriously? Is Jake ready for someone with a boxing lineage? What happens if Jake wins, and does it convincingly? Will that be enough to silence the haters? Or will the conversation always be more about who Jake is rather than how he fights? No matter the outcome, one thing is certain: Jake Paul has made himself impossible to ignore. He's disrupted the sport, forced uncomfortable conversations, and rewritten what it means to build a boxing career in the modern age. Whether his story ends in championship belts or just bold headlines, he's already made history in his own way. The next chapter begins in Anaheim. The stakes are real, the opponent is dangerous, and the spotlight has never been hotter. Jake Paul has talked the talk. Now, once again, it's time to fight. Jake's preparation for the Chavez JRB fight has taken on a different tone compared to his earlier bouts. This isn't a promotional stunt or a celebrity exhibition, it's a genuine test of skill. He's working with seasoned trainers, sparring with serious contenders, and keeping his camp tight-lipped to avoid distractions. Behind the social media bravado, there's a focused athlete who knows that public perception is finally catching up to his ambition. For Jake, this isn't just about another